This video is sponsored by Typhur. Today we're going to unbox the Typhur Quad, and then to demonstrate I'll be grilling 4 different pieces of protein at 4 different temperatures. We'll be going over some functions of the base and the app as well. I'm Johnny, you're watching A View to a Grill, and the first thing we need to do is unbox the Typhur Quad. Out of the box you will find the base, a user manual, a charging cord, and 4 probes. Now we can go over some of the Typhur Quad features. First of all, it has both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connection for your phone. When connected to your phone via Wi-Fi, you'll virtually have unlimited range. If you choose just to connect via your Bluetooth, you'll have up to 400 feet of range. Now, if you'd like to register your product, all you have to do is open your camera app and use your camera to capture this QR code. Once your camera finds your QR code, it'll take you over to the website, and then you can just go ahead and register your Typhur Quad. And then once you're done registering, go ahead and remove the sticker from the front of the unit. Now, if you notice, you have 4 probe thermometers. Just to do a little deep dive into these probes, each probe has 6 temperature sensors that are strategically placed in the probe itself. Each temperature sensor will detect the internal temperature at 5 different places within your protein, and then it has 1 sensor that monitors the ambient temperature of your cooker. If you want a simple reading of these temperatures, you can just look at the base, or you can launch your app. Inside the app, you'll find this pro view of all 6 temperatures that each probe monitors. Now let's take a closer look at the thermometer probes. On the top, you'll find the number of the probe, and the handle can take up to 572 degrees of temperature for up to 20 minutes. And that's important to know when you're searing. On the shaft, you'll find this line, and you just want that line to be inside of your protein. Well, the tip is sharp and penetrating. This probe is also dishwasher safe. Each probe has an extended 50 hours of use if fully charged. I have both the original Typhur sink and the new Typhur Quad. For the new Typhur Quad, they were able to make the shaft 30% thinner. The bottom one is the thinner one, comes in at 0.19, and the older model comes in at 0.24. To turn on the Typhur Quad, all you have to do is touch the center circle on the display. Now earlier we took off the QR code sticker, and when you turn the Typhur Quad on, you're going to get another QR code. We'll do the same thing as before. We're going to fire up our camera app, hover our camera over the QR code, and when the camera captures that code, we can then direct it to the App Store to download the app. I already had my app downloaded, so all I'm going to have to do is touch open. Now I'm going to touch add device and then continue to follow the on-screen instructions all the way through signing on to Wi-Fi. Once you're done setting up the app, just pull one of the thermometer probes out and see if it registers on your phone. While we're doing our cook, you're going to see that this is a truly wireless and stable connection. Now just to show you, I have all 4 probes out, and all 4 probes are registering on the app. You can then touch one of the probes, and that'll take you into a pro view, and then you can swipe left to see all of the information for each probe. If you're interested in buying a Typhur Quad for yourself, I was able to secure a 10% off code VTAGRILL10. If you go to the website that I have below, you'll be able to use that discount code and get you 10% off. Now let's go ahead and set up for our cook. I'll be using my Weber kettle with the slow and sear insert, and of course the Typhur Quad. Now I have my Weber kettle set up, ready to go. Let's go ahead and set up the Typhur Quad. Here I have 4 pieces of protein. And we're going to cook each piece to a different temperature all in one cook. All we have to do is start by touching that circle in the center of the display and turn on the Typhur quad. Now I'm going to use my phone app to set up each individual cook. And while I do that, I want to show you how fast this connection is. Notice how fast that the temperature gets registered on the app. There is almost no lag time in between pulling out the probe and seeing the temperature register. Now, before we plug in these thermometer probes, you're going to want to kind of map out to where the tip of the thermometer ends up on the thickest part of whatever it is you're cooking. And to do that, you have to remember that this line actually has to go into the protein that you're cooking. For the 2 New York strips, I'm going to use probe 1 and probe 2. For the pork chop, I'm going to use probe 3. And for the chicken, I'm going to use probe 4. Now that I have all 4 probes in my protein, let's set up our cook for each one. Using my app, I'm going to touch on probe 1 and then set up cook. I'll then touch beef and then touch New York strip and then touch rare. Here's a little short demonstration on how to plug in the probe, which we've already done, and then touch start. And then here you can see that we've set up a New York strip to cook rare. And now we'll go through that same process for the second New York strip, and we're going to set that one up to finish at medium rare. Now we're on probe 3, and we're going to set probe 3 up by touching pork, then we're going to touch chop, and we're going to set this to medium. Next we'll do our chicken breast. So here we're going to touch breast, then we'll touch well done, and for me 170 is a little too well done, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust my temperature to 165 degrees. And then we'll touch next and then start, and now we're done setting up our cook for each individual protein. And now it's time to begin our cook. Now I like to start everything off indirectly, so I'm going to place this rack on the indirect side of the grill. We can start monitoring our cook, and here's what it looks like on the base. You see target temperature, ambient temperature, and remaining. We'll get to remaining later. Now if you're like me, you're going to want to monitor this through the app. Now here's what the app looks like, and the first view is the same thing that you can see on the base. If you want to see more detail, just touch one of the thermometers and start scrolling through all 4 of the thermometers details. Now while you're cooking, the Typhur quad also has this sleep mode where it saves your energy. If you see the screen go black, all you have to do is touch that center circle and you'll wake the base back up. The remaining is the smart part of this app, where it tries to predict the end of your cook. After a few minutes, our steaks are in that 80-degree range, and that's where I like to start searing my steaks. So I'll get the steaks over the direct heat, and just as a reminder, here are the specs. Now here's a tip, and it's a personal tip. When I have the thermometer probe in the steak, I kind of like to let it hang off the edge of the fire, and that'll ensure that the temperature doesn't go over that safe temperature range. Because as you can see here, the fire can get pretty aggressive and put you over that safe temperature range, and having the thermometer over the edge kind of keeps the temperature a little lower. Now we're just going to continue to cook our steak and monitor the app. When the smart part of the application kicks in, it will throw you an alert. Now a minute later, I'm getting an alert for probe number 1, and here I was not ready for these probes to come back with the next instruction so quickly. So I didn't actually take these off when the app told me to take these off, which caused them to go over temperature just a little bit. That is not the thermometer's fault. That is my fault for not being ready to remove them. Now let me show you the results from the steak. You can see that steak 1 is a little less done than steak 2, which it should have been, but I could have done better getting them off faster. So the steaks are done, and now let's put our attention on the chicken breast and the pork chop. And then here we go. As I'm grilling, the 5-minute alert for probe 3 has gone off, and that is our pork chop. About a minute later, or less than a minute, the alert for our chicken breast has also gone off at the 5-minute before done mark. Now, just to show you how hot that ambient probe can get, I went ahead and left these over direct heat. Probe 4 spiked at about 400 degrees. And that's why I like to hang the ambient probe off to the side away from the direct heat as much as I can. And then when you're in this pro view, you'll get this alert telling you when it's time to remove your protein from the heat. So I removed my pork chop from the heat, and that thing is looking pretty good to me. I'm sure you're mostly interested in how was the cook. Let me just cut a few pieces off and look at the drip. This pork chop was juicy and delicious. At this point, the internal temperature of the chicken breast is at 145 degrees, and if your phone happens to be locked, it doesn't matter. Typhur will still send you an alert that you can see. On the base, you can see that I've already ended 3 of the cooks. And if you want to scroll between cooks, all you have to do is hit the left or right arrow. Since we got our alert, all we have to do now is take our chicken off the grill. Now it's time for that last money shot on the chicken breast. Here we go. Let's cut off a few slices. And this is oh so familiar. That juicy drip just coming off that breast meat. I mean, and of course, you already know that chicken breast came out perfectly moist and delicious. And of course, when you're done, you're going to want to clean your probes just to ensure that you get proper charging. Now, if you've liked what you've seen so far, remember I have a pinned comment below. Just use that link along with the discount code and you're going to save some money. Now, if you haven't already subscribed to A View to a Grill, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching A View to a Grill. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, y'all.